Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. In today's video, we're going to be talking a bit about self and philosophizing on self a bit, and really, the topic or title that I'm thinking of is um, how the self can't know the self, or how the self can't be an object of knowledge to the self. And I'll get into this shortly. But yeah, self and ego and identity and I and all that stuff, who am I, all that stuff has been very fascinating to me ever since I got involved with spirituality and psychedelics and philosophy and looking into the mind, the identity and the subject, of this is my experience and I'm looking into my mind and this is my life and my body and who is this me, who is this I that I'm always talking about, it just became very quickly fascinating and unfathomably trippy, looking into this sense of self thing. And yeah, what I want to talk about in this video is just one of those really mind-bending aspects of identity or the sense of self. So Alan Watts is really going to back me up here in what I'm going to be talking about, because he's made some beautiful analogies towards this very predicament revolved around the sense of self. But let me take a moment to think about how to introduce this thing. I guess I'll just go with it. So I am myself. I am myself. What does that statement mean, and what does that entail? That I am myself. What is that saying? Is there this thing that is self that I am? And how am I describing this self that I am? Who's the one describing this self that they supposedly are? Or when you look in the mirror, this is where the topic, this video idea came from. Is the other day I was looking in the mirror and I was just getting really fascinated by the idea that that's me. This is who I am right here. This is my body, and just looking into that idea of identity and self. And I had this this is slightly off topic, but it's kind of interesting. I had this really weird idea. I was like, okay, so I am seeing myself in the mirror, and I was looking around the mirror, and you know how when you make eye contact with somebody, you feel it. It's an affirming feeling, and it's like, oh shit, or that's what makes a conversation in depth, is how much you guys are connected via eye contact and stuff like that. I was looking around the mirror, and when I looked myself in the eyes, I didn't see another being. I didn't see anything. I didn't see a separate self. I didn't see another being. I didn't feel that feeling of looking into the eyes of somebody. And we could argue that it's because it's myself that I'm looking at. But nevertheless, these are a pair of eyes in front of me, and supposedly those are my eyes, And looking at it, it appeared no different than the entire thing that I was looking at, the entire reflective field of the mirror that I was looking at. And it made me realize the entire universe is looking back at me, as if a pair of eyes were looking at me, like when I'm looking in the mirror at my own eyes. Whenever I look at something, it's looking back at me, and that's why I'm seeing it. It was this really weird thought about subjectivity and where the sight is coming from. But I guess to start off this ego thing is we can stay on the track of sight and vision. So your eyes, okay, your eyes see. Your eyes, that's what they do. They see the world, assuming that your eyes are functioning properly. Your eyes see. But can you see your eyes without looking in a mirror, you know? Can you see your eyes? We can think about the tongue, tastes. You taste all these different tastes and different flavors, but can you taste the tongue? You know? You bite things and chew things with your teeth, but can you bite your own teeth? You hear things with your ears, but can you hear your ears? You talk about yourself, but you are yourself. The thing I'm trying to get at here is that the tongue can't taste the tongue because the tongue is the taster. The eyes can't see the eyes because the eyes are the seer. The ears can't hear the ears because the ears are a hearer. The self can't know the self because the self is the self. It is always itself. It's not, it can't see itself. It can't hear or feel itself. It is itself innately. You can't escape yourself and see yourself. That would be as if your eyes escaped themselves and saw themselves, or if your ears were able to hear themselves, or if your teeth were able to bite themselves, or if your tongue was able to taste itself. All these notions that I've given, they are the thing that does it. So they can't know themselves in an exterior way beyond the action of what, they're doing. And I hope I'm getting this across to some extent, because it's incredibly far out stuff. Okay, so I am myself. How do I know myself? What do I do to go about knowing myself? And don't forget, who is it that's going about knowing themselves? Don't say you, because who is that? Who is it that's going about this task of knowing themselves? Who is it that's doing all that? The self is itself. The self doesn't see itself. In thought, but the subjective experience of self is always as it is, and it never escapes itself and becomes a point of view. Unless you're having ego death or some sort of transcendental experience where you actually see, you do become detached from self, because that's where it gets weird. I keep saying that you are the self and you can't see the self, but the thing is, this is the secret, this is the trick. Awareness is aware of self. Awareness isn't self, though. It is just awareness. So by you being awareness, you can see the self. But the second you articulate that, or describe it, or try to remember it and do something with it, You are the self again that you just saw. It wasn't even you that was seeing it. It was the innate awareness of self. That's not you. That is awareness. And when you try to go, or when I try to go, who I am in essence is awareness. That's my ego in thought. I'm still just in thoughts. That's my thought mind trying to bring my identity into awareness so that I can still be something and still exist as something. I have to be something. So let's say awareness, because shit, that's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? That's a safe ground. But no, we're just dragging our egos around with every thing we're doing, and hold on. Take a pencil and write on the pencil with that pencil. Can you touch the tip of this finger with the tip of this finger? That's something Alan Watts talks about. It's this idea that you are it. I don't know how else to put it. You are what you're looking for. It's not there because you are it. It's neutral because you take up its space. You are it. You're what you're looking for. You're what you think doesn't exist or exists or is good or bad or whatever, Who is it that knows the self? It can't be the self that knows the self. How? Who is it that's knowing that? And this can all be seen as a psychological trickery of how the brain works and how awareness works in the brain and stuff like that. And neuroscientists and psychologists would have right at me about how fantasy-esque I'm being about it, but it's more so a matter of looking at what you're doing. Don't look at fields of study. Don't look at shit you've been taught. Literally look at the functioning of life itself right now. This is life. How is it working? What's happening? Minus all the fields of study. Minus all the neurotransmitters and blood and space and time and thoughts and all of that. What's happening to you on a personal level, in your own words? What's happening right now? How would you describe this? And that's when you realize these essential, okay, so I think I'm this person. That's something that I know to myself without anybody else's input. I think I'm this person. Okay, so what is that? What does that mean? Who's thinking that? I don't think there's a higher self. I think there's different forms of identification in what's happening. If you were to tap into a part of mind that is able to help you grow and do better, and seems to be made up of all the characteristics that are positive about you, you would call that your higher self. That would be a sort of archetypal thing. But I don't think it's a separate self that's higher than you right now. Because there is no you, is the idea here. There is no self to find. because you are it. Because we are all it. It's nowhere to be found because we are it. I don't know how else to describe it, you know. Your eyes are nowhere to be seen because they're your eyes. Seeing. It's not an object of its own awareness. It'd be like the files on a computer being able to go back and see all the motherboard and all the circuits and wiring that make those files exist in the first place. You can't do it. Or it'd be like you trying to go and see your brain, you know? You can't do that because you are the thing. And the reason self is so elusive and people say self doesn't exist or self is this or self is that is because it's thought forms. It's just thoughts thoughts are elusive as hell. And thoughts are what think they don't exist. And thoughts are what think, I am this, I am that. Damn, self doesn't exist. Damn, self is very elusive. This is who I am. That's all mind. And identity resides in mind. It's like a steady, a moderately steady thought. That I exist. This is who I am, you know. Alan Watts describes it, you know, your mind is like thought, thinker. Thought, thinker. Thought, thinker. Where it's thoughts. Wow, look at all these thoughts I'm having. Thoughts. Wow, look at all these thoughts I'm having. But the thing we seem to misinterpret is wow, look at all these thoughts that I'm having is just another thought. It's not you aware of your thoughts. It's just another thought. It's not who you are arising out of the woodwork to state what you have to say about what your mind has been thinking. Whose mind? You know? You are mind. Identity, ego-wise. Ego is mind. True identity, true self, it's a lack of self, but it is this entire thing. It's free of self. It's free of restriction and boundary, and this is how it is, and this is who I am, and I need this to happen. If a plant dies, it dies, you know? Nobody gets out alive. Something I've been thinking recently. Nobody gets out alive in this one. You think, you know, you think you're lonely. Think about how water feels. Think about how rocks feel. Think about how individual falling leaves feel. Think about how bugs feel. Think about how the dirt feels. Is that just mute? Is that just nothing? Is it dumb? Is it less than you? What if it's lonely like you? What if it's suffering like you? What if it could also teach you to stop suffering? What if dirt is a better teacher than another corrupt human being? What if rotting leaves and organic matter and a mountain range teaches you more about self and true reality than a scientist or a psychologist? To me, it appears that where we came from and what we are, nature, knows more than this little thing that I think I am, which is just a thought that likes to come up here and there, you know. Nature is what we are. And it was here before us. And if it's what we are, that means we've been here the whole time. Maybe not our egoic sense of self, but we have been here the whole time. And nature all around us is telling us that. Here I am. Look how ancient I am. Look how calm I am. Look how of myself I am. And that's my mind personifying it, you know. Taoism just talks about this idea a lot. I think it's called Wu Wei, which means of itself so. You know, and I was talking with my brother a week or two ago. We were looking out at a sunset, and I was saying to him, I think I asked him, like, does that look like a bunch of clouds and beams of light and space and dimensions and air and, you know, all this stuff? What does that sunset look like to you? And I ended up telling him that to me it's free of description. It's not anything that I put on it. And that's where I realized the way I feel about that sunset, how I would describe that sunset is of itself so. You know, isness. It just is. That's the nature of it. And any further interpretation is just that, an interpretation of what you think it looks like or sounds like or feels like, you know. The nature of things is Wu Wei, of itself so. The isness, thisness, thusness, suchness. That is who we are, is thisness. If you ever get into like self-inquiry meditation, at least this is what I've come to describe it as, but it's really like, it's this process of you sit down or you do whatever and you start asking, who am I? And, you know, who is it that just thought that? And who is it that just answered? And who is it that's talking right now? And really it's a process of continuously and repeatedly and steadily realizing that you still think you're this person doing this thing. And you just keep catching that. You just keep catching that, you know, identity popping up. You know, who am I? And you hear, I am myself. You know, who just said that? Who just thought about that? Who's speaking right now? You know, and it keeps bringing you back, and it brings you back to the source from which these thoughts are coming from, which is just mere the substratum of existence itself, just awareness. Just here it is, and now it isn't. Here it is, and now it isn't. Those are how the entire universe is. You know, Alan Watts described the universe like it's like a big game of peekaboo. Here I am, and now I'm not. You know. You can't know yourself because you are yourself. You don't see yourself in the mirror. You see just another form. You see the karma of standing in front of a mirror, which is the reflection of what's in front of it. It has nothing to do with who you are, and you know. Who you are, who I am, is, and we shall stop there, you know. Because shit gets weird, shit gets emotional and psychological, and we lose the wisdom when we try to describe ourselves and this world and what it's all about. And I think that's basically it for what I have to talk about in this video. I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about, like I said, one of the trippy, mind-bending aspects of identity, and how it escapes itself, and how it's just always out of its own grip, you know, because of everything I've just said. But no, there's a few things that I should mention, like I want to start making more videos in the near future. I've just been honestly still settling into this new place that I moved into, you know, my grandfather's house, and I've just been chilling, doing my thing, you know, and I'm not really sitting there thinking about what I should make a video about. But this is something I just was like, you know, I'll sit down and talk about this for a little bit. Another thing, I'm working on a book right now. I'm working on a book, and if you're watching this and you're one of my viewers that's very interested in philosophy, spirituality, identity, Eastern mysticism like Buddhism and Hinduism and stuff like that, I think you guys will really get a kick out of this book. I don't want to give too much away, but it's essentially about a kid that gets lost at sea and has a spiritual awakening of some sorts, and is then rescued and shares the story amongst people. It's a pretty interesting, creative little story, but I'm still working on it, and I want to get that completely like published in my hands. You know, I might even make an audiobook of it and put it up on my channel, but if not, I'm gonna completely make this book available to anybody, especially you guys. Free books might even be a thing, you know. And the last message to my channel, aside from that I'm working on a book right now, and that I wish I've been making more videos, but I've just been chilling. The other thing, and it bums me out, it kind of irritates me. You know the community posts thing where the owner of a channel can type out, say something to his followers in text form, or even hold a poll where people answer this or that, or, you know, and stuff like that. So apparently, I've wanted to do that. I've wanted to do that for a while. I've wanted to do that, asking you guys, hey, what kind of videos would you guys be interested in me talking about, or holding a poll about what do you guys think on this, or making a post saying, hey, drop all your questions in here so I can make a Q&A that's based personally around what my watchers are asking. I apparently can't do that until I have 1,000 subscribers, and that was kind of a bummer to me. Like, really, I can't talk to my community of people just because I don't have 1,000 subscribers. But yeah, I can't talk to you guys in that way right now, which is I want to. But yeah, I want to be able to do these Q&A style stuff and more personally and direct with my watchers type stuff, you know. Questions and problems that you guys have, topics that you'd want to hear me talk about and stuff like that. I want to be involved with my community, you know. But yeah, those are just some stuff that's been going on in my life, aside from the book thing, just some YouTube related stuff. But yeah, I hope to start making some more videos here in the near future. Who knows what about? Might just be some random topics that it's like, I'm gonna make a video about this. But yeah, nevertheless, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching. Don't get caught up looking for yourself, because you are it. You're not gonna find it. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you all later.